Happy Tuesday. Good morning. It is May 23rd, 2023, and we are back here Tuesday morning moving forward in our Worship the King devotional. Today the title is The Illustrated God, and it comes from Hosea chapter 1. The key verse is verse 2, but I'm going to read the whole, Hosea chapter 1. It says, "The Lord gave this message to Hosea, son of Beeri, during the years when Uzziah, Jotham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah were kings of Judah, and Jeroboam, son of Jehoash, was king of Israel. When the Lord first began speaking to Israel through Hosea, he said to him, 'Go and marry a prostitute, so that some of her children will be conceived in prostitution.' This will illustrate how Israel has acted like a prostitute by turning against the Lord and worshiping other gods. So Hosea married Gomer, the daughter of Diblaim, and she became pregnant and gave Hosea a son. And the Lord said, 'Name the child Jezreel, for I am about to punish King Jehu's dynasty to avenge the murders he committed at Jezreel. In fact, I will bring an end to Israel's independence. I will break its military power in the Jezreel Valley.' Soon Gomer became pregnant again, and this time gave birth to a daughter. And the Lord said to Hosea, 'Name your daughter Lo Ruhamah, not loved, for I will no longer show love to the people of Israel or forgive them, but I will show love to the people of Judah. I will free them from their enemies, not with weapons and armies or horses and charioteers, but by my power as the Lord their God.' After Gomer had weaned Lo Ruhamah, she once again became pregnant and gave birth to a second son. And the Lord said, 'Name him Lo Ami, which means not my people, for Israel is not my people, and I am not their God. Yet the time will come when Israel's people will be like the sands of the seashore, too many to count. Then at the place where they were told, 'You are not my people,' it will be said, 'You are children of the living God.' Then the people of Judah and Israel will unite together. They will choose one leader for themselves, and they will return from exile together. What a day that will be, the day of Jezreel, when God will again plant his people in his land. In that day you will call your brothers Ami, which means my people, and you will call your sisters Ruhamah, which means the ones that I love." Like I said, The Illustrated God is the title from Hosea chapter 1, and the key verse is verse 2, which says, "Go take to yourself an adulterous wife and children of unfaithfulness, because the land is guilty of the vilest adultery in departing from the Lord." So let's just get right to this. The problem with being a prophet is that prophetic illustrations of judgment are often portrayed in life events. Such was the case with Hosea, who for the purpose of divine illustration was told to marry a prostitute. So what was the point? God's people had been committing spiritual adultery for generations. They jumped from one idol to another like an adulteress would jump from one man's bed to another man's bed. And God's heart was broken over this. Hosea probably wished he could just deliver the message verbally. But God speaks louder than that when circumstances are dire. When ears are closed to his words, eyes must be opened to his truth, and Hosea's calling was to live the truth of God's pain. Hosea had the unenviable task of marrying someone who would be repeatedly unfaithful, someone whom he loved dearly, someone who would break his heart again and again and again. We often read of people who sacrificed their lives for the sake of the gospel, those prophets who were killed for the word that they delivered. Hosea sacrificed his life in a different way. Men don't dream of marrying unfaithful women who will rip their hearts out. They dream of true love that lasts forever. For the sake of God's people, though, Hosea had to give up his dreams. What would you give up for the sake of God's people? If he called you to sacrifice your life, or harder yet, to sacrifice your dreams, would you be able to do that? Only a person whose love for God is great, one who sees the big picture of eternity, is the only way that somebody can do such a thing. But that's exactly what we're called to do, to love God greatly and to see the big picture. We are to embrace the joy and the pain of being living illustrations of his kingdom, whatever it costs. So the question today that I want to leave with you before I read the quote is, what would you give up for the sake of God's people? Would you be able to sacrifice your life or your dreams for the sake of God's people? I want you to think about that today. And the quote that I'm going to leave you with at the end here is from F.B. Meyer. And the quote says, God will be our compensation for every sacrifice we have ever made. Think about that today. You guys let that rattle around and ponder. You keep praying for me, and I'll keep praying for you. You guys take care, and God bless.